Is it possible to make and attract money without having to struggle or force it to come to you? Hi there, this is Kristen Noel, and welcome back to my channel where we discuss all things money, marketing, and metaphysics. Now, for the longest time, I really struggled with finding the correct flow to making money, right? I grew up with this mentality of thinking that money was really hard to come by. I really had to struggle to make money. And on top of that, that was what I was taught, right? As a child, I had to work hard. I had to get good grades. If I didn't get straight A's, that must mean that I would never get a job. These were just beliefs that were really ingrained in me ever since I was a little girl, right? And it wasn't until recently when I discovered in following one's money mission that I realized that I could actually make a lot more money by following my own design. And let me share with you what I mean by that. So using different modalities, on this video, we're going to be talking about human design in particular. But what I realized is that by understanding human design and how I specifically work, I was able to make more money by following my own design. The truth is, okay, that we are so different, right? That's also why it's so important for us to not copy someone else or try to compare ourselves with other people. I think the number one problem that most people face nowadays is not that they don't know what to do, okay? Because you can totally just Google that, right? If you were to Google how to do something, you can find the answer for it. But the problem is that we are always comparing ourselves with other people that we see online. What ends up happening is that we're not honoring who we are and following our own unique strategy. There is a quote by Albert Einstein, and the quote basically says, "Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid." Now, I think that this applies to how we show up and make money as well, right? A lot of us are wanting the same results, but we are following what everyone else is doing. And what ends up happening is that we don't realize that we're all very different, right? We all have different strengths. We all have different weaknesses. And if we try to become like someone else, most of the time it doesn't work out unless you have the same strengths as them, unless you have the same weaknesses as them, right? So in this video, I'm going to share with you how you can make money with human design in 3 different ways. Okay? Super excited. Let's dive right in. Okay, so the very first way that you can make money with human design is because of the fact that human design actually shows us where we are consistently generating energy and where we are actually most vulnerable, right? So the truth is that money is energy. And I actually talk about this in one of my previous videos. So definitely check that out if you can. But because money is energy and we are energetic beings, right? The whole point is for us to be an energetic match to money. And so in the human design chart or the human design system, you're able to actually see where you are most consistent in generating energy and where you are most vulnerable. So the very first step that you want to do is to actually pull up your own charts so that you can go through it with me together. So what you can do is that you can go to jovionarchive.com. Again, it's jovionarchive.com, and plug in your date of birth and your time of birth and where you were born. And then once you are finished with that, you can join me in the next screen. All right, awesome. So now that you have your chart pulled up, you'll start to see something like this, right? You're going to see this chart over here and then some information on here on the right-hand side. Now, if you are completely new to human design, then all you need to know for the purpose of this video is that there's something called open centers and defined centers. Now, open centers are centers that are completely white and they just look like they're white triangles or squares, okay? And they were called open centers. Open centers is actually where you don't have consistent energy, and it's really a place where you're taking in energy and you're amplifying it based off of who is basically around you, right? Then you have these defined centers, okay? And these defined centers is actually where you do have consistent energy. And it's kind of like you're a lighthouse. You're the one giving off this energy, or like the sun, you're the one that's giving off this energy, and it's consistent, okay? So basically how this helps one make money or attract money is that the human design system actually shows you where you are consistent in generating energy, okay? For instance, for this chart, which is my chart, is right over here, and where you are inconsistent in your energy. Okay. Now, I just want to point out that there's no good or bad. It's not good or bad. It's just really understanding and looking at it very objectively, right? So if here it shows that I'm consistent in these two areas, okay, that means that I really should be focusing on these two areas as my point of strength, right? So in a bit, I'm going to share with you what that actually means, okay? But the first thing that you can do right now is actually look at your charts and see where you are open and where you are closed. Print it out if you have to, but circle the areas where you are defined and circle the areas where you are open, okay? Now, in my Attract with Ease Accelerator, I go deep into, how to actually read your human design chart, especially because it governs your money mission. But make sure that you subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell, because what I'm going to do next week is actually talk about each of the centers and what they mean, what they entail, and how they're actually profit centers, okay? So if we look at each of these squares and these triangles, they can actually be seen as profit centers, how we can actually make money in each energetic center, which is really cool because, again, at the end of the day, we are energetic beings. Money is a form of energy. And when we can know how to work with both energies, then we can start to flow and not have to resist in life, right? We don't have to force things to happen to us, okay? So again, the human design system really shows us where we are consistently generating energy and where we are most vulnerable, okay? Now, the second way that, human design helps you make and attract more money, okay, is the fact that by understanding, right, each center of your human design chart, you can know what to say to attract people to you. You can know what to say to attract your ideal clients, right? So what I mean by that is, if you look at your defined centers, we'll see them as strengths, okay? Let's just say that they're strengths, right? Because it's consistent energy that is radiating from you. So because of these are strengths, I know that I'm always going to be attracting people that don't have this defined, okay? So the interesting about human beings and human design is that the people around you tends to be opposite of you. And the reason why is because you are attracted to that person because that person has what you don't have, essentially, okay? And that's what the belief is around the human design system. Now, most of the people that come to me actually struggle with their money mission. They struggle with figuring out clarity on their direction, which is so interesting because my G center, which governs direction and clarity, is defined. And actually, a lot of people come to me because they feel lost, they feel stuck, they don't know how to take their business to the next level, they don't know the direction, they don't know how they're designed to make money. And that's also why they purchase my course or they're part of my programs, right? Because they need that direction. So essentially, what's great about this is that when you know what your defined centers are, then you can actually attract the people that have this white, okay? So I'll give you a really good example, okay? And again, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, because I'm going to be talking about profit centers next week, okay? And I'll actually go deep into each of the centers and what they actually mean in terms of profit centers, okay? So for a quick example, right? This is the root center, and as you can see here, I have this open, okay? And it's undefined. Now, someone that would be able to sell to me, okay, is that the root governs all things adrenaline, stress, right? It's all about that pressure. And for me, because it's open, I'm constantly looking for ways to relieve my stress or to relieve the pressure that I feel in my root center, right? So that's also why if someone were to create a marketing message around, release your stress, or this is the product that will release your stress, right? Like that would really draw me to that messaging, because these are the things that I actually struggle with. So what's the great thing is that you can actually tweak your marketing message based off of what you have and what the other person doesn't have. Now, obviously, you're not gonna know, what every single person's human design chart is. What you have to do is just trust that whatever is defined is something that you have consistently, and that you can understand what the opposite of that defined center is, right? So for instance, here, G center is all about direction, like I said. So I know that I'm going to attract a lot of people that are unclear, a lot of people that don't have a lot of direction. And so my job is to really make sure that my marketing message speaks to them in a way that makes sense, right? So that's also why so many people come to me for Money Mission, because they don't have this part defined, right? The last way that human design can help you make money is that human design actually shares with you your specific authority, okay? And I'm gonna share with you what I mean by that in just a second. But essentially, this is what I'm talking about, your inner authority. So authority basically means how well you actually make decisions, okay? So in the past, I actually used to make decisions with my mind, right? We're all taught since we were little to basically make decisions from our mind because we need to be logical, we need to make sense. But the truth is that our minds are actually wreaking havoc on us than so much more than any part of our body. And here's what I mean by that, right? Most of the time we are overthinking things, okay? We are having all these beliefs about a certain thing. And that's also why we're not able to make decisions. We're so lost in our actual minds, right? Our minds are not meant to help us make decisions. Now, authority here in human design actually shows you the best way for you to make a decision. Now, if you know how to make decisions, then that means that you can attract more money, right? You can make more money because you can make better decisions. So what's great about this is that in human design, you can see your authority, and so you can see mine is self-projected. And that basically means that my decision-making tool would be that I have to talk things out. When I talk things out, either with myself, either I voice note it, or if I talk it out to someone else who is a great sounding board, I can actually make my decisions much more clear, as opposed to me just being in my head and thinking about whether or not something is a good or like a right or wrong decision, okay? So if you are looking at your chart, you're gonna look at what your authority is, okay? And then from your authority, then you can actually know what your authority is so that you can make the right decisions. And again, I go deeper into this into my accelerator program, how to actually use your authority to make more money, right? But essentially, these are the 3 ways that you can make money with human design, right? I just shared that with you. The first one is understanding where you're consistent in generating energy and where you're inconsistent in generating energy, right? After you know that, you must know your profit centers. And again, I'm going to be talking about profit centers next week. So make sure you hit the notification bell and subscribe to my channel so that you'll get notified when I talk about profit centers. And finally, right, it's all about speaking the language of your ideal clients, right? Because if you know what their pain points are, and in this chart, you can literally tell what people's pain points are, then you can actually mold your messaging and you can attract people your way because you are speaking their language, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this video. This is really just a brief intro of the 3 ways that you can make money using human design. So next week, I'm going to go deep into the profit centers of human design, which each center actually means, and how you can actually apply this to yourself. So again, make sure you hit the notification bell and subscribe to my channel so that you know when the next episode comes about, okay? So thank you again for tuning in. If you want to watch any other videos of mine, then make sure you click over here. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.